Today we are going to discover the search filter, which is one of the most powerful tools from the Plus add-ons for Elementor. And this widget comes with 15 plus amazing and unique Ajax filter types. For instance, you have alphabet, search input, checkbox, date picker, drop-down, radio button, range, tabbing, Woo button, WooColors, etc., etc. And we are going to cover all of these one by one in this tutorial. So let me show you this in action very quickly. If you were to look by alphabet, let's say by the letter S, you'll only have items showing up that start with the letter S, like this one, stylish wooden chair or stylus tool. You can do this with categories, you can do this with tags, you can do this with colors, with image, size, ratings, etc., etc. So a very powerful tool indeed. And you can create as many filters as you want and customize them the way you want it. You can position them horizontally, vertically, maybe have them as a pop-up filter or an inline filter. Very good, and welcome to the Plus add-ons for Elementor. My name is Dave, and today we are going to explore one of the best features from the Plus add-ons, which are the filters and the search features. Now make sure to like and subscribe to our channel as we upload 2 new Elementor videos every week, which will make you an Elementor master in no time. All right, so are you ready? Okay, so let's get started. Okay, very good, and welcome to our WordPress dashboard. First, let's address the necessary plugins for this project. So let me show you very quickly. So first we need Elementor. Elementor is our page builder, drag and drop page builder, very easy to use. Let's scroll down the page. We'll also need WooCommerce, which is our e-commerce platform. So we'll be able to create products and filter them down as well using our 2 different widgets. And for those 2 widgets, we will need the Plus add-ons for Elementor and the Plus add-ons for Elementor Pro version, as well as those 2 widgets are part of the Pro version. And if you want to design a beautiful website, have a very nice professional finish, we would advise you to install Nexter theme as well, which comes with many different extensions. Now, if we go and have a look at the appearance here, Nexter settings, it also comes with many extra options. As you can see, also performance, security, and white label feature. So altogether, a very professional theme as well. Next, let's make sure that our widgets are activated. For this, we go to the Plus settings, Plus widgets. In the search box, type in Woo. Let's make sure that Woo listing is activated. This is the one here, as you can see, is part of the Pro version. Make sure that this toggle switch is switched on. And now let's do the same with filters here, just like that. And we're going to enable this one. So WP search filters, as you can see, this is part of the Pro version as well. And make sure that this one is switched on as well. And then click Save. Now we're going to go into our extra options. And from here, we're going to scroll down the page and we're going to look at this section here, which is called WooCommerce Swatches. As you can see, this one is disabled by default. So you can enable this, click Save. And what this one does, basically, it will add attributes to the product section. So WooCommerce Products, as you can see, now we have the attribute section, which we are going to use very soon in the next step. Now we're going to click on Performance. And from here, we are going to clear the cache. So purge all cache, click OK, and then Save. And that's it. That's us all done for all the essential steps. Very good. So now let's have a look at how we can set up our attributes and configure our WooCommerce products in order for those to work with our 2 widgets. So first, let's create our attributes. For this, we go into Products, Attributes. So this is the one we just enabled. And as you can see, you created a few already. So we have brand, colors, and sizes. And for sizes, we have small, large, extra large, maybe XXL. For colors, we have blue, red, yellow, and maybe for brands, we could have Adidas, Nike, and Puma, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how we can create one ourselves, how you can add as many attributes as you want. So let's create one. For instance, if you're selling clothing, items of clothing, something similar to this, maybe your visitors would be interested in filtering down the content by type of fabric, if it's clothing website, for instance. Okay, so let's create one together here. So let's call this one fabric. So here for the slug, we're going to type fabric as well. And next we have to select our type. As you can see, if we click on the drop-down menu with 3 options, color, image, and button. So if you click on color, it will look something like this. You can select by color. So it's visually easy for visitors to know exactly what they're looking for. If they're looking for purple, maybe yellow, maybe red. So this is the color option. And then we have image. So an image, for instance, the brand here, it's using the image feature. As you can see here, we have a small image for each brand. So it's very easy for your visitors to select the brand that they want. And we can do the same here with button. So this is slightly different. As you can see, this one here, the sizes, these are buttons. As you can see, small, medium, large, and you can add as many as you want. So in our case here, we're going to select button as well. And just underneath, you can see we have the default sort order. So you have your terms, for instance, blue, red, yellow. How do you want to organize them? How do you want to list them? Do you want to list them by name numeric, so if it's by numbers, you know, or term ID. So this is really up to you. So I'm just going to go by name here alphabetically, okay? Now we're going to create our attribute. So add attribute. Very good. So as you can see, now we have fabric here that's been added, and now we can configure our terms. So what are the terms included in the fabric section? So let's click on this, configure terms, and now we can add the different terms. So for instance, you could have cotton, and then you can create a slug in a description. We can leave it empty, that's fine as well. And then what you want your button to say. So basically this section here, as you can see, small, large, or medium, we can do the same with this. So we're going to call this cotton as well, you know, very easy. Let's keep it the same. And we're going to add a new fabric. There you go. So now we have cotton, okay? So let's create another one. So let's say polyester maybe, okay? And we do the same on the button. The button will say polyester. And let's do the same with another few. So there you go, just like that. So I've added a few now. So we have velvet, wool, silk, polyester, and cotton, which are our different types of fabric. So if you go back to attributes, as you can see, now we have brand, color, fabric, and in fabric, we have all these different terms. So this is just about perfect now. Now, obviously, if you were to select a different type, for instance, an image here, you'll then be able to upload an image next to your terms as well. So as you can see here, the brand, this is an image type. So if you click on the terms, as you can see, each one of them has a little picture next to it, a thumbnail basically. And this is where you'll be able to upload your image while creating these new terms. Okay, so that's basically it for the attributes now. Next, we need to go into our WooCommerce product and assign those different terms to each and every product as well. So for this, we go to all products. And here we have a few different products that we created here for this demo. So I'm not going to show you how to create a product from scratch, but I'm going to show you the important part, how to assign the different attributes to each and every product. So what we can do is just to edit this one, for instance. And this is a t-shirt. So if we scroll down the page, basically here, as you can see, we have the attributes. So if we click on this, at the one we have color, size, and brand, but we also have our fabric attribute. So we can add this to our product now. So clearly, as you can see, this is a t-shirt. So maybe this t-shirt is made out of cotton, maybe polyester. And now we can add this to our product description. So if you click on this fabric, now we can add this. Very good. And as you can see, now we have this attribute added to our section. And now we can add the different values. So let's select a term. So maybe this one is made out of cotton, 100% cotton. Maybe it's cotton and polyester, in which case you can add as many as you want, obviously, you know. And then you can save your attributes as well, just like that. Now, some of those attributes will be used for variations as well, in which case you might charge different prices depending on maybe the size, maybe on the brand, or maybe the color. So if you wanted to charge different prices based on the type of fabric, you could do that as well, in which case you'll have to tick this box here, used for variation. As you can see at the moment, we have it set up for sizes and color already. So basically each size and each color will be a different price. Now you might want to charge different prices as well based on fabric, in which case don't forget to tick this box used for variation as well. And then you have to go into your variation and create all the different variations here based on size, color, and fabric as well. And then don't forget to click update to save all your changes. And then you can do the same with all your products. And now that everything is set up, as everything is in place, we can finally create our landing page. And for this, we go to Pages, Add New. So let's give it a title. So maybe Woo listing with WP filters. We can publish this page. And now we're going to edit this page with Elementor, which is our page builder. Very good. And as you can see, we start with a blank canvas. So the first thing we're going to do is to create our page structure, and then we're going to insert our different widgets. So let's create our structure here. So let's divide this in half, and let's have maybe this left-hand side for our filter, and maybe the right-hand side for displaying our products. So basically what we're trying to achieve is something similar to this. As you can see, all the filter on the left-hand side and the products on the right. So here we're going to add our different widgets now. So if we click on this, we're going to look for listing, the first one. So the first one we need is the Woo product listing, this one here. So drag and drop. So we put this on the right-hand side. Very good. So this is our products. And now on the left-hand side, we're going to insert the filters. So let's look for filters. And this is the one here, WP filter. So drag and drop it, just like that. Okay. Now, before we can configure our filter area here and customize it, let's go back to this one here, which is our product listing. Okay. And from here, we need to select one option. So let's go here and let's select the search list. So that's very important because this is how this is going to work and be linked dynamically to the search filter option. And then feel free to select any of those different styles. As you can see, you can select among 3 different styles or create a custom skin as well and select the type of layout. So maybe you want to display this as a grid, masonry, metro, or carousel. So these are basically all the main options for this feature. Now let's go back to our filter option here. So let's configure our filter area. As you can see, we have a search field here called category. If you click on it, it will reveal all these different options here. So we have 3 different types of filters. We have WP filters, Woo filter, and filter meta. So let's take a moment to explain these because it's very important for you to understand the full workings of this very powerful widget. Okay. So WP filter, if I click on this, this will give you access. It will allow your visitors to filter down the content of the website based on existing taxonomy. So basically, there'll be no need for them to create any custom fields. They can use it straight out of the box. And why is that? As you can see, if you select the source here, you can sort this alphabetically, select a checkbox, a date picker, a drop down button, radio button, and so on and so on. So we're going to explore these one by one in a minute. And then we have the Woo filter. So this basically is to apply a filter on your WooCommerce product using the attributes that we created earlier on. As you can see, we have button, we have color, we have image, and rating as well. And then we have an additional one, which is the filter meta, in which case you could reset or have additional features again. Okay, so let's go through this one by one. So let's start with the first one, WP filter. Okay, so let's discover our first one, which is alphabet filter. And as you can glean from the name, is to reorganize the content alphabetically. So let me update this very quickly and let's have a quick look in the front end. So as you can see here, we can select any letters. So this one here is summer red shirt. There's an S in it. So let's click on S. And there you go. As you can see, all we have now is this one. Now, if I untick this, it will show everything. And you can multi-select these as well. You can select S, you can select a D, and you can select a V, for instance. Okay. And as you can see, that's the only item that matches those 3 letters. Okay. So that's basically alphabetically. That's pretty straightforward. We have checkbox as well. And then now we need to select our source. So here we're going to select taxonomy and the type of attributes we want to display. So maybe we want to show our product categories. There you go. And as you can see, we didn't have to create anything. This is already in the system when we created our products. Now we're showing here. We have fashion, designer, shorts, hats, and shirt. So if I was to click on short, it will only display this item. And now if your product categories have images, you can show that as well as a small thumbnail next to it. And you can show the count. As you can see, we have 4 products, 5 products in this one, 3, 2, and 1. And you can do the same with child category. So you can display your categories and then subcategories and so on and so on. So this is basically everything that's got to do with checkboxes. Now let's discover the next one. This is the date picker. So a date picker will not apply to our example here. This is more for websites that are maybe selling cars, second-hand cars or something like this, where the customers need to know how old the car is or something like this. So this is basically when you need a date field to narrow down your searches. So next we have the drop down, and this is basically the same principle as the checkboxes, but in this case we have to click on it to reveal the content as a drop down menu. Next we have the radio button. Again, here is about the same option, except this time you can only select one option at a time. With the checkboxes you can select fashion, design, shorts, multiple categories at once, with the radio button, you can only select one at a time. So here, if I can only select, for instance, designer or only shorts, etc., etc. And again, this is the exact same principle as the checkboxes. Next, we have our range slider. So obviously, this feature only works with products, and this is where your visitors can set up a minimum price and maximum price they want to actually spend. So they can narrow down the searches based on price. And here you can define yourself the maximum price, the minimum price, and also the incremental steps. So you want to increase by 100, maybe by 50, maybe by 10, and so on and so on. Next, we have our search input. So this is basically a pure search box, 100%, where you have to type in the content when you're looking for something, and it's going to look throughout the whole database, the whole website, if there are any product matching those criteria. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Next, we have our tabbing filter. And as you can see, this is a different layout, basically, that's going to show our categories, and you can show the count, etc., etc. Now you can customize all of these and stylize them as well, customize the layout, the outcome as well. So if you go into style, if I close this, as you can see, we have all these different options. So basically, regardless of the type of filters that you're going to use, you can customize every aspect of each section. So here, this is our tabbing buttons. So let's click on this one here, tab button. And now let's scroll down a little bit. As you can see, we have all these different options. You can add padding, margin, you can change the font, the size of the icon if you're displaying one. All the options are normal mode, hover mode, and active mode, etc., etc. So you can change the color background, the font, and everything you want. So as you can see, they are all rounded at the moment. If I was to set this to 0 here, as you can see, we have sharp edges now. So again, it's up to you really to change all these different settings and play around. We can change a few of them here together. So let's change the background color maybe to something else. Let's go for a purple. Let's go like this, okay? And then you can change the font color and so on and so on. So this is pretty self-explanatory. So let's go back to the content of our filters here. Let's go back to our category. And this time, let's discover the next type of filter, which is the Woo filter. So this is 100% dedicated to Woo products. And first, we need to select the source. So again, these are the attributes that we created earlier on, and we can now insert them into our search feature here. So let's go with our first option here, a button, okay? And now we need to select our source. So again, we're going to select taxonomy in this case. And then which type of taxonomy are we going to use? We're going to use our attributes that we created early on, so product attributes. And now we can select which one we want to display. So is it brand? Is it color? Is it fabric? Is it size? Okay, so let's go maybe with fabric. This is the latest that we created together. There you go. Now, as you can see, it looks a bit messy. It doesn't look great at all. And the reason is because here underneath on the desktop mode, because we are displaying on desktop now, we have 4 different columns. So we need to reduce that to at least 1 or maybe 2. And there you go. As you can see, now they're displaying on top of each other, which is much better. And now feel free to do the same for tablets and mobile phones as well. And now let's put this to the test. Let's go to the front end and let's try this out. So we can click on cotton. And there you go. These are the t-shirts we have made out of cotton. Now let's try polyester. And there you go. These are the t-shirts and all the items that contain polyester. So very, very easy to use, isn't it? And to configure. Now, obviously, you might want to change the title here, the heading. Instead of category, maybe have fabric instead. So for this, you can go into the heading settings section here. Click on this. And as you can see, instead of category, we can have fabric. And then you can change the icon as well, you know, and you have all these different options. So let's select something else, maybe. And from here, you can select among all these different options, all these different icons. So because this is got to do with textile and everything, maybe scissors or something that got to do with cut. Okay, we'll use this one here. Why not? Okay. And then insert this. And there you go. As you can see, that looks just about perfect, doesn't it? That looks much better indeed. Now let's add a filter based on color this time. So we can close this one, add a new one. And again, we're going to select Woo filter. And this time we're going to select color. Okay. Select the source. Again, taxonomy. We're going to go product attributes. This time we're going to select color. And in this instance, you can select maybe more columns. You can select maybe 6 columns all together. And as you can see, all the colors will be lined up on the same row, which is absolutely perfect. And then you can select maybe a smaller amount for tablets and even smaller for mobile. Very good. And again, we can change our heading here. So maybe we can type in color and have something next to it, or you can just remove it all together because color is pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? So if you click on this now, as you can see, you have an option as well to disable the heading altogether. So maybe we decide not to show this one. There you go. So this is pretty self-explanatory when it comes down to colors, doesn't it? So next we can add another one. So let's create another one very quickly. So this one is going to be a Woo filter again. And this time we're going to select an image. This is for our brands, okay? So again, we're going to select our source, which is taxonomy. We're going to select our product attributes. And this time we're going to select the brands. There it is, okay? And as you can see, this is image-based. So now we can select among different brands such as Nike, Puma, and maybe Adidas. And then our last example here is the ratings. So we're going to select again Woo filter, ratings this time. We're going to select our taxonomy and let's give it a title. So maybe rating, okay? And then we don't need an icon really because this is self-explanatory. So we can delete this one altogether. And that's it basically, okay? And now your visitors will be able to narrow down their searches based on star rating. As you can see, if I hover on top, I can select how many stars I want to display. And now let's discover our last type, which is the filter meta. So let's add a new one here. And we're going to create this one. So filter meta. And the first one is filter tag. Now filter tag only works with a WP filter attached to it. So at the moment, we only have WooCommerce filters here. And obviously we can mix and match as many as we want. So we're going to create a new one now again. I'm going to quickly insert a WP filter. And this one, we're going to select a checkbox on taxonomy. This one is based on our categories. There you go. So there it is. Now we're going to close this and move it to the top. It's going to be easier for us to follow along. And this is our meta filter here. Okay. So I'm just going to select filter tags here. Now let me show you how this works. So as you can see here, we can tick one of those boxes, designer, and now we have a tag displaying on top, and the same for fashion, for instance. Now we have two different tags. Now I can unselect these by just clicking on the tag itself very easily. Just like that, okay? And then next we have our filter reset. So this one is pretty self-explanatory. Basically, when you have your features here, if you select them and unselect them, you will reset the whole layout all together and the search results. So next we have a search results itself. So basically here, as you can see, you can use these different shortcodes to display something. So let me show you here. Let me scroll down, showing 6 out of 6 results. So basically in the front end, if you select your products, it will tell you exactly how many are being shown compared to how many are available in the database. Okay. And then finally, we have the filter column. So basically here you can add a visual aid for your customers to display either one column, maybe 2 columns, maybe 3 columns and 4 columns. So they can select themselves how many columns they want to display on their screen. So let me show you this very quickly, how this looks like if we go to the front end. So let's refresh this together. Very good. And now we can select how many columns you want to display. So we have 4 at the moment. So maybe you want to display only 3, maybe just 2, or just 1 altogether. So this is how easy your customers can select this and customize even their own layout on the page itself. So there you go, guys. We've covered that pretty well. You can create 3 different types of filters: WP filters, Woo filters, and filter meta. You can put them together and have a combination of different filters as well. Filter meta will only work with W filters. There you go. This is a quick summary of everything related to the filter area. Now let's have a look at our next section, the extra options here. And our first option here is the filter toggle button. As you can see, all our filters are displayed here on the left-hand side on top of each other. Maybe you want to display this in a more manageable way, in which case you can enable this feature. All you have to do is to display it. And as you can see now, we only display a certain amount of search results, and you'll have to click on this to show more. So as you can see, by default, you can display 3 of them. You can maybe display only 2. As you can see, only our first 2 here, okay? And so on and so on. And then your visitors will have to click on show more to display the rest of the filter options. And obviously you can tweak the show more, show less text and change your icon as well. Or maybe no icons altogether. This is really up to you, but I think it is nice the way it is. It says exactly what it does. Okay, very good. So next we have the Ajax button enable. So what is this for? Well, at the moment, if I click on fashion, it will run a query and will display only the item in the fashion category, and the same maybe for cotton and maybe silk and so on and so on. So whatever criteria I select here in my search feature, it will run a search each and every time. So you have loads of products. This might take a lot of resources, especially if you have lots of visitors. So maybe you want to simplify and make it lighter. Then in this case, you can enable the Ajax button. So let me show you what it does. If you enable this, as you can see, we'll add a button here at the bottom. So basically what you will do in this case is to select the different items. So maybe you want fashion, designer, and cotton. And only then you have to click on filter, and then the query will be run. So there's a big difference between the two. So depending again, based on your own requirement and maybe the type of server that you have in place, you might prefer one over the other. So our next option is the URL parameter. So what is this about? Well, basically, if you go to your home page here and actually run a search, it will add some additional details here as a postfix in your URL. So as you can see here at the moment, this is our web page. If I add this, as you can see, we'll add the category here. If I select cotton, it will select the fabric as well. So this is very handy and very convenient, especially if you wanted to share this URL with a friend of yours. So imagine you go on this website, you found exactly what you were looking for, you narrowed down the searches, and now you want to share that with someone. All you have to do is to select the URL, send that to them, and they'll have the exact same result on their screen. So this is a very handy feature again. And next we have our filter tag title. So let me enable this. So for this one, you need to make sure that you have enabled in the filter area, that you have in the category here, the filter meta set to filter tag. So this one has to be enabled to work with this. So let me show you again how this works. So now, as you can see here, we have the category section. If I click on designer, it will tell me you have the category designer selected. If I click on fashion, it says category fashion. But now if I select from a different section, from the fabric, I click on cotton. As you can see, now I have fabric, cotton as well. So this is working from all the different categories and search options that we have available underneath. Whereas if I disable it now, as you will see, there you go. Now we only have the name designer, we only have the name fashion or cotton. We don't know from which category it is from. That's it for this video. If you liked and learned something new from this video, then feel free to share with your friend and make sure you hit the subscribe button so that YouTube knows that you love this video too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.